Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Masteries with Mr. QWERTY. I have an exciting battle to show you guys today. It centers around a brand new tank that Wargaming has introduced to World of Tanks Blitz, the Polish 60 TP of the Polish heavy line they introduced. The line is a brand new addition to the Euro tech tree. Underneath the Kranwagen, the Progetto 46, and the Swedes and other tanks. So we're just going to go ahead and hop right over to the battle. It's a mastery. The outcome of the battle is determined. I win. It's a mastery. I'm just going to let the battle speak for itself. So once we go ahead and start, we load in, we already see there's 8 60 TPs in this battle. This is what happens when a new tank is dropped. Everyone and their sister gets the tank and immediately hops into it to take it for a spin. So I go ahead, I know it's Canyon. I'm gonna rush over to it. I don't focus on where I'm driving, try to go up a wall. I try to break out the wood a bit here. People decide to be a little bit rude, but that's normal. Now, sure is gonna be someone who factors in a little bit later. They're an annoyance, just to put it lightly. I see this T-57 Heavy isolated himself, so I'm gonna use the buildings as cover, make my way over towards him. I know if I move through the buildings, the tanks on the hill that are to my right will not be able to shoot me until I get over to the tanks. I mean, not to the tank, to the train cars, and even then it's going to be a difficult shot to get off. My main focus is keeping the T-57 spotted, hopefully getting a cheeky shot in, but I realize he didn't wedge himself between the tree and the house. He wedged himself on the other side of the house from the tracks. He pushes up to try to get a shot, successfully gets a shot. It's a trade. I won the trade so far, and with this next shot, the trade will be just about even. And with this next shot, it's back in my favor. I dealt 1,200 damage to that guy in 2 shots. He only dealt around 400 and... not 400, only about 700-ish in return, so fair trade. Fair trade. Not ideal, and here I take another shot because I wasn't expecting Sure to focus in on me so hard. This tank has a similar playstyle to the IS-7, where you do best in face hug situations and places where you can hug corners and wiggle. So I'm just helping out Guga here. Sure, with his shot, and I bounce off the upper front plate. I see a triangle appear in my rear and immediately turn around because this JGPZ is going to be an issue if I don't take care of him. I ended up taking a round up the rear because everyone and their sister decided to tunnel me as I was coming off the hill. I was lucky I only took one set of 600. The 60 TP that I was helping made the ultimate sacrifice here to distract the JG. I go after Sure with this shot and get a nice 600 roll. Using the JG as cover, I keep them from firing on me as long as possible and force a bounce here because the armor profile is very weird. If you'll notice, in the front I'm using AP, and the AP on the tank pens around 260 millimeters of armor if I remember correctly. The tank is very difficult to pen and face hug if you don't have 1, gun depression, or 2, high penetrating rounds in the tank. Now I'm going to go ahead and polish off this guy. I load my heat, and I'm just going to ignore the guy on my left, push around the hill, pop around right into his lower front plate. Now I immediately get myself turned around, and I'm using this guy, I'm using Sure as cover against Whisker. This guy, he gave me more trouble than I honestly should have taken. If I had loaded heat right here and just lobbed a heat straight up his observation port, he probably wouldn't have dealt any additional annoyances to me. I'm out of repair kits, out of adrenaline, out of multi-purpose. The other 60 TP is yelling at me to back, 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 back. So yeah, I can finally back up. He bounces. And the Chieftain is currently en route. He's going over by the base. You can actually see he skirted just past the base. Now I'm on my reload. I have my heat loaded. I pop over the hill, and a half-health Chieftain comes barreling around the corner. Now, they have DPM on their side. They have a 7-second-ish reload. I have a 15. So I hide, and I hide, and I hide. And then they poke around the corner and see a tank trap. Now, I'm in perfect position. They can't back away fast enough, and I have high enough alpha that it's a kill. So that battle was a 5.3k, 4-kill mastery battle. The mastery badge right there. And Top Gun, which is destroying at least 4 enemy vehicles. I was a scout, believe it or not. I got patrol duty. And then Steel Wall is a very easy medal to get as a heavy. Got a couple other assorted medals that aren't really important. Legendary damage. This tank has gotten significantly harder to ace in the last few days. Shout out to Gustav for the support, and big props off to the enemy TDs and enemy team. They very much gave a decent fight and a brilliant mastery. And so, with that done, here's a couple other assorted stats with damage. I did very well in this battle, and in my opinion, this tank is a very strong replacement for the IS-7, because the IS-7 has similar armor, but it has lesser alpha damage, and that's the big decider when it came down to me describing the playstyle of the 60 TP, because it's very, very similar to an IS-7 in terms of being able to face hug things, and unless they have gun depression or the ability to pen, they really have no way of damaging you, while you can sink 500, 600, 700 damage into them at a time. This tank also is able to load a special new consumable known as tungsten rounds, which can increase the damage of your shell from just normal damage anywhere to 105 to 125% of the damage the shell would normally roll. In the scheme of things, that is the exact same as adrenaline, but there's a lot more about this tank that can be said. But I'm going to end the video here. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe, share with your friends. Happy hunting.